Hey everyone, how are you? How are you? How are you? How are you? How is your day going? Hello, hello. All right, I'm gonna give it one more minute. How is everyone doing today? Well, today has been a pretty crazy day for me. We got the email from the HOA, and I don't know if they was talking about my bushes or what, but I had to get out there and cut some bushes. So, and my neighbor was cutting his, and I was like, yeah, he cutting his, let me get out there and cut mine too, because I'm not trying to be on the list. So I got out there and started cutting bushes. All right, y'all, let me get started. So, family, welcome to another Wednesday chat with Betta Living, where we are heavy on the ing and healing, because healing is not just a one-day thing, it's a lifestyle. And so today's topic is one that I know you guys are going to think is going one way, but I'm going to have it shift and go another way. So, why me, Lord? And not the question, why me in frustration, but the one we whisper in awe. Why did you choose me, God? And I want to point out that you were chosen not because you were the best, you were the most equipped, or you were even the most holy. It's because God loves you and he loves me. And so in Deuteronomy chapter 7, verses 7 through 8, it reminds us the Lord did not send his affections on you and chose you because you were more numerous, but it was because the Lord loved you and kept the oath he swore to your ancestors. So the reality is we're chosen because God loves us. And let's be real. If we're just going to be honest, we weren't supposed to make it. If we look back over our lives and look back over some decisions and things that we've made, we could have died in that car accident. You shouldn't have graduated. You weren't supposed to be the one. You were from a single parent home. You weren't supposed to be the one that got married. You were supposed to continue on in that arena. You were supposed to be the one that got the STD. You were supposed to be the one that had a bunch of babies. But God, right? And so you're supposed to have been lost in your mess. But God reached down with his mighty hand and he rescued you. He rescued me. And so, and now that he delivered you, you don't go back and play with the very thing that pulled you from it. Right? So you got to completely cut it off. I don't care who it is. is, what it is. You got to completely cut it off. And just like God told the children of Israel, he said, cut off your enemies. You can't mingle with them. Why? Because what you entertain, you will eventually mimic. So don't be surprised when the things you play with also starts to play with your peace. Because you just can't do both. It just don't work like that. And we were set apart to be holy. And so when you've been set apart to be holy, you've been called to live a holy life. That's not just a rule book, it's privilege. And being holy is a privilege. And so you're God's treasure. And in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 6, it says, for you are a holy people. The Lord your God has chosen you out of all peoples to be his treasured possession. So it's not by coincidence that you're where you are, that you didn't experience the whatever. It's because God has chosen you for his own treasure, for his possession. And so God is a promise keeper. God keeps his promises all the way down to 1,000 generations, according to Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9. But like any good father, he disciplines and he corrects. And that's in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 5. So have you ever noticed this? Everyone can get away with it, but you the one that get caught. I'm the one that get caught. That's how God loves you that much, that he corrects you. And that's grace. That's grace in disguise. Because if you was the one that, I'm going to chastise you when you go steal that bubble gum, so that stealing doesn't become your thing. So you get caught up real quick, real early in it, so that it doesn't become your thing. And you're mad. You're like, dang, God, I just went out with them one time. How come I'm the one that get caught up? I just added an extra on my taxes. How come I'm the one that's getting audited? Because I ain't trying to have you over at the feds, because that's where you heading. So let me pull you back. Let me go on and chastise you real quick before it becomes your lifestyle. And so little by little, God blesses us. He don't do it all at once. And he told the Israelites he will drive out their enemies little by little. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 22. Because if he gave you everything at once, you wouldn't be ready to carry it. We're not always ready for the very thing that he has for us. It's a process. So what we have to learn to do is stop despising the process. Because even the very drips are still divine. So just the very drip of it is still divine. If it's coming from God, it's going to be divine. What has God done for you that has never been seen before? God fed the Israelites manna. That was something that had never been done, never even been seen before. When it started falling out the sky, it didn't even have a name, because it had never happened before. What about somebody in authority? Have you ever been in a situation somebody in authority say to you, I've been working here all these years, and I ain't never seen nothing. I've never seen this before. I don't know how your account got clean. I remember I didn't have enough money in the bank. So I didn't wrote a check for my rent, knowing I didn't have enough money in the bank. And so, but I wrote the check. And when I wrote the check, I handed it to the lady, and something told me to check my bank account. So I looked at it on my phone, and I jerked back, and it said correction. And the correction was a credit. It covered my rent. This is back when Comerica had gotten some type of class action lawsuit, and it had I had gotten some money. That wasn't Comerica. That was my manna. That was my favor. That was God. And it was the same that happened with the children of Israel when they walked around for 40 years. Their clothes never wore out. Their feet never blistered or gotten swole up. That's in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 3 through 4. How you going? I can't even fit some clothes I had 3 days ago, let alone 40 years. The clothes didn't wear out. I mean, just unheard of. Just unheard of godliness. But when you're God's chosen, it's above anything you can ever ask for or think will happen in your life. That's just the way God works. And so when you arrive to the blessing, you will walk into a land flowing with abundance. You will not lack anything. But don't get brand new now, because you know that's how we'll do. Don't forget that it was God who did it. It wasn't the brakes on your car that kept you from the accident. It wasn't the provisions from strangers that did it. You got to give. It wasn't that you were so equipped to get that job that you didn't know how to do. I always talk about the fact that I had gotten a job when I worked for Continental. I had never been in purchasing. I actually got the job. The supervisor said, well, we had something in common. We both come from logistics. And he just gave me a chance. That was God. That wasn't that man. That was God working through him. And so we have to make sure that pride doesn't rise up. And that you don't count it your own that you're doing this. Because what will happen, you'll become a God in your own eyes. It'll be you. I'm the one that graduated. I did this. I did that. You ain't even had the money to go to school, let alone when I went to Saginaw Valley, I went to school. I graduated high school. I shouldn't even tell y'all. I graduated high school with like a 1.98 GPA. So I went to college on a special dispensation. Like, okay. And so I can't brag about having no degree and all that, because according to my transcript, I wasn't even supposed to go to nobody college. That was God. That wasn't Monique at all. That was God. And so I just want us to reflect on what has God done for you that has no one else has ever seen or ever even experienced before. You know, I remember when my ex-husband and I were separating, the lady, my rent was $400. And I remember every time I would pay, and the lady, I got the apartment, she might have been gone a couple of weeks after I moved in. When I would go and pay my rent, this lady would tell me every single month, you have the cheapest rent in everybody in here. That wasn't just a special that I tapped in on. That was God. That was a God thing. Cause I can't even make it make sense. She couldn't make it make sense. She would tell me, you got the cheapest rent of everybody up in here. So have you ever been playing with what God told you to cut off? I have. All the warning signs were there for me to leave this situation alone, leave this person alone. But I was like, I don't want to leave this person alone. I don't want to leave this situation alone. So I'm going to keep on playing. I'm going to keep on dwelling. And so, okay, God not going to keep playing and dwelling. But so, okay, Monique, I got you. You hard head. Okay. So have you ever walked in obedience, or is it pride? So the takeaway I want you to know here is that God chose you on purpose. And his choosing goes with covering, correction, and covenant. If you do your part, he will bless you beyond measure. That's that Ephesians 3:20. Sometimes we want to connect that to money, but it's so much deeper than money. It's so much deeper than money. But if you forget who brought you out, like the children of Israel often did, you will find yourself back in bondage. This time, it will be self-inflicted versus God trying to help humble you for his purpose. So the affirmation I want you to say over yourself is, I am chosen and covered. And send that to somebody else that needs to be reminded that they are chosen and covered. And that's it. That's all I have for y'all today. My name is Monique, and this was just a little something from my heart to your ears. And I hope and I pray that you now understand why God chose you. He chose you because we're his treasure. He chose you because, not because you were equipped, not because you were the best, not because you were more holy, simply because he loves you. All right, y'all. Love you guys dearly. And Lord's will, we will do this again next Wednesday. Same place, same time. All right. Bye.